The city of Vakul Prime was busy as always. Hovercars moved through the sky. Tall towers reached the clouds. On the streets below, Zarn citizens walked calmly. Children played with flying toys. Everything was perfect, peaceful. But then, the sky changed. It started with a small sound like a deep hum. It was so low that most people didn't even notice, but the air felt different. Strange. Then, at 1423 Standard Time, the sky above the city turned black. Not dark like a storm. Black. Like a shadow had swallowed the sun. Citizens looked up and froze. Shops stopped. Drones fell from the sky. And high above, hanging in the clouds, was something no one expected. A ship, but not like any they had seen before. It was huge, silent, blacker than space itself. It had no lights, no visible engines. It didn't shine. It didn't move. It just floated. The defense command on Vakul Prime responded quickly. Within seconds, alert signals echoed across the city. Soldiers moved. Defense cannons turned to the sky. Hundreds of aerial drones flew up to scan the ship. General Vosk, a tall Zarn officer, stood inside the control tower, watching the screen. "What is it?" he asked. "No idea, sir," said the tech officer. "It's not in our database. No response to any signal. It's just there." "Scan it. Get me everything," Vosk ordered. The scanners tried. They failed. Every system that tried to scan the ship shut down. "Sir," said another officer, "our orbital shield is offline." Vosk turned slowly. "What do you mean offline? It just turned off. There's no damage, no hacking. It just stopped working." Panic started. The Zarn Dominion was known for its power. They had taken over hundreds of worlds. No one challenged them. No one dared. But this was not normal. A single ship, doing nothing, had already shut down their best tech. In the air, the defense drones floated near the strange vessel. Then one drone got too close. It vanished. Not exploded, not shot. It just blinked out of existence like it was never there. One by one, other drones followed. Within 10 seconds, all 200 drones were gone. No damage, no trace, nothing left. General Vosk stared at the screen. His face turned pale. This is a trick," he said. "Send in the interceptors." 2 interceptor ships launched. Fast, powerful, and armed with plasma weapons. They flew straight toward the ship. Everyone watched, but the ship did not react, at least not in the way they expected. As the interceptors got closer, they began to slow down. "Why are they slowing?" asked Vosk. "Unknown. Engine still on. But something is stopping them," said the officer. On the screen, the interceptors stopped completely, frozen in place. Then, without warning, they began to break apart. Slowly, piece by piece, like someone, invisible, was pulling them apart with tiny fingers. No explosion. No fire. Just silence. Both ships were gone in less than a minute. The control room was quiet. No one spoke. Then, finally, the ship moved. Just a little. It turned slightly, as if it was looking at something, but it had no eyes. No windows, no bridge. It wasn't shaped like any known ship. It looked like a weapon. A forgotten weapon. "Sir," said the tech officer, his voice shaking. "It's sending a signal." "Play it," Vosk said. The sound came through the speakers. It was not in Zarn language. It was in Terran Standard, ancient human tongue. It said only 2 words: "Begin protocol." That was it. Then the lights in the control tower went out. All screens shut down. Power died. The city went dark. Above, the human vessel remained, still and silent. The Zarn Dominion, conqueror of galaxies, had no idea what they were facing. But something had come from the shadows of time, a ghost from Earth, and it had just begun. It was the first time in centuries that the Dominion archive was unlocked. Deep below the capital planet of the Zarn Empire, inside a cold chamber filled with forgotten data, a historian named Rilvek worked quickly. His long fingers typed across glowing panels as ancient records flickered to life. "Find all entries," he whispered, "on early contact with humans." The Dominion always said the humans were extinct, gone long ago, destroyed in early wars. But after what happened on Vakul Prime, the silence, the black ship, something didn't make sense, and Rilvik had a secret. He once read a forbidden report, hidden during the early days of conquest. It told of an alien species that met the humans and disappeared. He found the file again now. Code, red null. Origin, Dren Alliance, year, 3177 Galactic Time. It was an emergency broadcast, thousands of years old, from a star nation that vanished overnight. The Dren were peaceful scientists. They had many friends. But then, they sent one final message before being lost. On the screen, static cleared. A pale Dren leader appeared, shaking, eyes wide. "If you see a vessel with this mark," he said, holding up a strange symbol, "do not approach. Do not speak. Do not fire. Just run. Tell no one. Bury this message. Pray it never returns." The screen glitched. The symbol flashed for half a second. Rilvik paused the video, enlarged the symbol. His chest tightened. It was the same symbol that hovered above Vakul Prime now. A single mark burned into the side of the human ship. The same mark from a civilization that vanished without a trace. Meanwhile, above Vakul Prime, the human vessel remained still, no weapons fired, no movement. But across the planet, power remained offline. Defense grids failed. Emergency systems rebooted again and again, only to crash. General Vosk sat in a darkened room, using a portable device to view reports. Each report brought worse news. Food preservation units were failing, medical centers couldn't operate, entire cities were panicking, but the ship did nothing. It just waited, and that scared the Zarn more than any weapon. "Why doesn't it attack?" asked one officer. "It could destroy us easily," Vosk replied quietly. "Because it wants us to think, to remember. It's sending a message." He was right. In the outer systems, Zarn scouts began scanning historical records. Many found ancient references to early battles with humanity. But the records were vague, some missing completely, others marked deleted by order. And then, a new report arrived from a deep space probe. It had found another mark on a forgotten moon in Sector 12, an old human outpost, buried under stone. One phrase was carved across the wall in Terran Standard: "One shall return, one is enough." Back in the archive, Rilvik sent his report to Dominion High Command. He didn't wait for permission. "This ship," he said in his message, "matches a class once called Sentinel. They were not built for battle. They were built for punishment, deployed only when no peace was possible." The message ended with his final words: "You are not facing a fleet. You are facing a memory. And it remembers what you did." That night, across the galaxy, one truth spread in whispers. The ship was not a new weapon. It was an old judgment, and it had returned. A Zarn patrol ship named Vekra 17 flew just outside the orbit of Vakul Prime. Inside, Commander Reltar stared at the human vessel on his screen. It still had not moved. No weapons, no message, just the silent black shape hanging in space. "We can't scan it," said the pilot. It's not really there." Reltar nodded. "We'll try again. This time, full spectrum sweep." The crew activated all scanning systems: thermal, magnetic, biological, gravitational. Suddenly, everything went dark. The stars disappeared. One by one, every star around them vanished from their viewports. The crew looked out into the void and saw nothing. Only the black human vessel remained, shining with an eerie glow. "Sir, this isn't a sensor error," said the navigator. "We can't see the stars with our eyes either." "What does that mean?" asked Reltar, trying to stay calm. "It means the stars are still there, but something is hiding them. Or hiding us." "Pull back!" Now! The ship turned. It didn't move. Engines were on, power at full, but the ship didn't move a single meter. Then came the sound, not from outside, from inside their own ship. A whisper, just one word, spoken in a dead language. No Zarn could know, but somehow they understood it. Stay. Back on Vakul Prime, General Vosk was reading the latest military report. His hands were shaking. Across 5 systems, Zarn vessels had lost communication. No damage, no attack. They simply vanished. No signals. No explosions. No survivors. Entire fleets gone. And above his own planet, the black ship waited. It hadn't fired a single shot. But it had done more damage in one day than a full war. Engineers tried everything. Quantum beacons, interstellar relays, wormhole gates. Nothing worked. The galaxy had gone silent. One scientist, Dr. Kell, offered a theory. I believe it is not jamming us. It is separating us, she said. It's bending space. Our signals don't leave this area anymore. We are inside a prison, a cage of quiet. Built by one ship? Vosk asked. She looked at him. No. Built by something else. The ship is just the key, far from the Dominion. On a trading station near the neutral belt, a merchant named Rain watched a private recording. It showed the first few seconds of the Sentinel's appearance over Vakul Prime. Rain was not Zarn. He was from a forgotten world destroyed long ago, and as he watched, he whispered to himself, "They sent it back." His friend, a reptilian trader, asked, "What is it?" Rain stared at the screen. A final warning, from a people who never give a second one. Final scene. On Vecra 17, the Zarn crew stared at the black sky. Then something new happened. Light appeared on the side of the human vessel, a single glowing dot. It pulsed 3 times. Then every screen on Vecra 17 showed a countdown. Hours. What happens when it reaches 0? Someone whispered. No one answered, because everyone already knew. Whatever is coming can't be stopped. At Zarn High Command, panic was hidden behind calm words. The countdown from the black human vessel was still ticking. Hours. Now down to 18. Every top general, scientist, and war advisor sat in silence around a long, dark table. A 3D image of the ship floated in the air above them. One admiral finally broke the silence. "This is not a warship," he said. "It is a warning system, but we cannot wait to see what happens when the countdown ends." General Vosk, his face tired, eyes hollow, nodded slowly. "We agree. The fleet launches now. Across the galaxy. The first response fleet was the Dominion's pride. 100 warships, fast, powerful, ruthless. They had crushed entire systems in weeks. No race had ever survived their full attack. But this time, they weren't chasing a weak enemy. They were going after a ghost. Admiral Trex led the armada. From the bridge of his flagship, the Iron Divide, he stared ahead at the distant black dot, the human ship. "It's alone," his weapons officer said. "No fleet, no backup, just one ship." Trex smirked. "Then we make this easy. No talking, no scans, no tricks. We fire. Full force." The command went out. All 600 ships armed their main cannons, missiles, plasma, gravitic torpedoes, planet-killer warheads, a full storm of weapons. Trex raised his hand. "Fire." What happened next, no one could explain. The weapons launched, thousands of them. They raced toward the silent vessel. Then, less than 1 second before impact, they all froze. Not slowed. Frozen, in space, mid-air. Time itself seemed to stop. Weapons hung in the void, like statues. The fleet stared in silence. Then, the weapons turned around. They reversed direction, slowly, carefully, facing their original owners. Admiral Trex stood up. "Evasive!" Too late. In less than 3 seconds, every missile, torpedo, and beam flew backward and struck its own fleet. Ships exploded. Entire cruisers shattered. One by one, the 600 warships vanished in fire and light. In under a minute, the most powerful fleet in the Zarn Dominion was gone. On Vakul Prime. The countdown continued. At hours. Now, 17. General Vosk watched the final transmission from Admiral Trex's ship, a few seconds of screaming. A flash of light, then silence. He stood slowly. "This is not war," he said. Dr. Kell looked at him. "No," she said. "It's punishment." Meanwhile, in deep space, a hidden probe sent a final signal to an old Earth relay, buried far. Beneath the ruins of a forgotten human colony, the signal was simple. Sentinel engaged. Phase 1 complete. Awaiting Phase 2. Something underground. Woke up. Metal moved, and far away, on a cold planet orbiting a dead sun, something huge opened its eyes for the first time in 3,000 years. The Zarn were not used to fear. They ruled half the galaxy, but now, fear ruled them. The first response fleet, gone. No survivors, no wreckage, only a silent space where power once stood. And still. The human ship did nothing, just hovered, just watched, just waited. The countdown ticked. 17 hours, now 12. Inside the Dominion Council Hall. For the first time in Dominion history, all 13 species sat without speaking. Even the warlike Zarg remained still. A single screen showed the Sentinel, black, silent, unchanged. One counselor finally asked what no one had dared to say. "Why is it here?" The question echoed in the chamber. No one had the answer, because no one remembered the truth. Not clearly. Records were deleted, histories rewritten, but the humans never forgot, and now, they had come back. Back on Vakul Prime, General Vosk stood inside an old archive. Dust filled the air. Ancient files blinked in red. One document was marked, Level 0 Access. He overrode the security. It opened. The file was simple. A timeline, a war. And a message from 3,000 years ago, the last words of a human diplomat. He watched the old video. A young woman in a gray Terran uniform spoke softly. "We asked for peace. You said no. We offered friendship. You laughed. We warned you once. You called us weak. We are not weak. We are patient. And when we return, we won't ask again." The screen faded to black. Under the message, one final line. File sealed after the fall of the Orion Pact. Reason: complete galactic annihilation. Vosk whispered, "How many species did they wipe out?" The computer responded in a cold voice. Records deleted by order of the Galactic Council. Human threat classified as extinction level. Across the galaxy, small races long hidden began sending secret messages. Some were old allies of Earth, others, survivors of the first human wars. One message made it to Dominion Command. It was from a tiny species called the Jarrell. Their message was short. "If you are still alive, leave. Now. You didn't conquer Earth. You only made it angry." Final scene. On a dark moon beneath ancient ruins, a machine lit up. It was shaped like a person, but made of black metal and red fire. It looked to the sky and said 2 words in an ancient Terran code. Phase 2, the countdown on the human. Ship changed. 12 hours. Now 6. No weapons had fired, but every empire across the stars finally asked the question too late. Why did humanity send just one ship? Before Earth went silent, it sent one final message. Not a warning, not a threat, just a message. It was sent across open channels, broadcast in every known language. It passed through stars, systems, colonies. Some heard it. Most ignored it. The eye, Dominion laughed. The message was too soft, too polite, too human. It said, "Do not come near Earth. Do not touch our colonies. Leave us alone. We are not what we were. We are something else now. If you come, you won't leave." The Galactic Council deleted the message from records. Commanders called it bluff. Admirals called it weakness. Now, they remembered, too late. Back on Vakul Prime, the countdown ticked lower. Hours. Now, 3, above the planet, the black vessel, still floated. Silent, unmoving, but power levels around it kept rising. Ships that got too close vanished. Scanners failed. AI refused to go near it. Even the stars behind it started to dim, like light itself feared being near the ship. Inside Dominion High Command, panic turned to silence. General Vosk stood with Dr. Kell and Rilvek, the historian. Kell whispered, "We should have listened." Rilvek nodded slowly. It wasn't just a warning, it was a promise. Across the stars, old colonies once owned by humans began to glow. Sensors showed strange energy, ancient Terran tech activating underground. On one icy moon, a tower of dark steel rose from the snow. A trader on the nearby station recorded a message. "I just saw something come out of the ground. It looked like a human face, huge, made of black armor. And then it opened its eyes." That was the last message from that station. It went dark seconds later. Inside the black vessel, no one had entered it. No one had seen its crew. But deep inside, something stirred. A small device began to blink. A message, recorded long ago, played once more. "Earth never wanted war. But we learned. We studied your weapons. We improved your machines. And then we left. Far beyond the edge of space. We waited. You forgot. But we didn't." Final scene. Back on Vakul Prime, every screen flickered. All at once, the black vessel sent out a new signal. This time, the message was short. Just 3 words, translated instantly into every known language. Diplomacy is over. The countdown reached round 2:59, 02:58, and the galaxy held its breath. Round 30, 0:29. Across the galaxy, millions watched the timer, some in fear, some in silence, some still hoping it was all a trick, but deep down, everyone knew. This was real. On every screen, the black human vessel remained, still quiet, still unmoving, but the space around it began to crack. Above Vakul Prime. From orbit, the stars behind the ship seemed to bend, like space itself was under pressure. A strange sound filled the skies. Not loud, just deep. A hum, like the breathing of some ancient monster. General Vosk stood on the balcony of Command Tower 1, staring at the countdown. Zarkotor 10. "Can we surrender?" he asked. Dr. Kell replied, "We already had the chance. It was 3,000 years ago." 5. Rilvek, the historian, whispered, "We should have listened to the message." 1. And then 0. The moment it happened, no. Sound, no explosion, no beam of light, just silence. And then darkness. Not just above Vakul Prime, across all Dominion systems. Screens died. Satellites fell. Starships shut down. Planets lost all connection to the stars. Entire sectors went blind, and then came the wave, invisible, not fire, not radiation. It was something else. The energy passed through ships, stations, planets, and turned off everything artificial. AI collapsed. Weapons failed, defenses froze, and above each Dominion capital, another black vessel appeared. No one knew where they came from. There was no jump signature, no warp trail. One moment, empty sky. Next, moment, a sentinel hovered, watching. On the moon of Kurlan 5, a Zarn general fell to his knees. "It's not just one ship." On the Zoltar front lines, a captain screamed into a dead radio. They're everywhere, they're inside our systems. And from deep space, a rogue scientist watched it all and said, they weren't threatening us, they were testing us. And we failed. Final scene. Inside the original black ship, a voice finally spoke. Calm, human, old. Phase 3 authorized. Begin planetary cleansing. Leave the innocent. Delete the guilty. Protocol. Remembrance. Across the Dominion, the sky turned red. Not from fire, from memory, because Earth had never forgotten. And now, it had come to collect. They came from every edge of the galaxy, not as soldiers, not as conquerors, but as witnesses. The black vessels hovered over dozens of Dominion worlds, but only some were destroyed. Others were left untouched. Why? That question burned across every Dominion broadcast. Cities begged for mercy. Planets asked for forgiveness. Even the most powerful leaders finally dropped to their knees and shouted into the stars, "What do you want from us?" But the ships didn't answer. Because the answer had already been given 3,000 years ago, in a remote sector. A small moon named Elverin, a place once used by the old Galactic Council as a prison for useless species. One of those species, the Lorian, had once fought beside humans in the Orion Pact. They remembered Earth. They remembered the voice, the kindness, and the pain. Now, as the black ships passed overhead, they opened an old vault. Inside was a human-made beacon, still working. The Lorian activated it. A message played, not for war, but for recognition. If you are hearing this, it means the stars still exist. It means hope still breathes. We left not to conquer. We left because you gave us no choice. But we remember who stood with us, and who stood against us. The Sentinel ship paused above the Lorian moon, then turned away. Back on Vakul Prime, cities stood half dead. No warheads were launched. No cities vaporized. Instead, only certain people disappeared. Military leaders, high scientists, political rulers, the ones who had led the wars against Earth centuries ago, or those who hid the truth for power. They were erased. Silently, perfectly. One by one, the people left behind, confused, scared, but alive, and slowly, safe. Final transmission. From deep space, the original human ship sent one last message. Every remaining Dominion planet received it. One voice. Human, not angry, just tired. We are not monsters. We are not gods. We are human. You pushed us into the dark. We became the darkness. But we never forgot who helped us and who hunted us. This is not revenge. This is correction. The war is over. Don't make us come back. Epilogue. Years passed. The Dominion fell apart. Smaller governments rose. Ones built on peace, not fear. New laws were made. Old truths uncovered. Children grew up learning about Earth not as a myth, but as a legend. Some races formed new alliances. They called it the Remembrance Pact. And far beyond the edge of the galaxy, hidden behind ancient stars, humanity watched. They did not speak again. They didn't need to, because now the galaxy finally remembered, and no one ever forgot again.